Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our TF Together session with Sheila, Corwin and Tatiana Speri, who are here to chat about their lives as teachers. So first of all, thank you both so much for joining us. Very much looking forward to hearing your opinions on teaching in the Renaissance City. And also thank you to everyone who's tuning in. You can feel free to pop any questions in the comments and we'll answer them at the end of the talk. So my first question then is, what brought you both to teaching in Florence? And perhaps Sheila, would you like to start answering that first?
Sure. It was my dream to live in Italy, if you can believe that. I first came to Italy when I was 18 years old, and I lived with a family in Parma for 3 months. I did one of those student exchanges. And after that 3-month experience, I was in love with Italy. So that was my dream, to come back. And so, I did some English language teaching in California, and finally I ended up in Italy, believe it or not, in Florence.
Okay. And what about you, Tatiana?
Actually, I moved to Florence many, many years ago when I was young, because I come from a region that is in the north, that is Trentino Alto Adige, that is beautiful, it is, but it's a little bit quiet for me. So I need to be in a city, in a big city for Italy. And I like to be surrounded from people that come from all over the world. So I really like Florence because there are people that come from America, India, Africa, Asia. And so I need that. And I decided to stay, even though I lived for 3 years in the United States, that I love. Now I am in Florence.
Tatiana lived in California, which is my state. She lived in San Diego, I think, for 3 years. And
yeah,
it's the best state of America. No, all of them are beautiful, but of course, my heart is over there. So, but
my heart.
And so what about your careers here in Florence then? What are your areas of expertise? What do you enjoy most about teaching here? Sheila?
Sure. I'm really an English language teacher trainer. I have my master's degree in TESOL, and I have my doctorate in educational psychology. And so my first love is really teaching language teachers how to be better teachers. And so I train new and already practicing language teachers at Europass. But I do lots of other things. I teach courses in CLIL, which is Content, Language, and Integrated Learning, as well as other courses in managing a classroom.
Oh, what about? Oh, sorry, Sheila. You seem to have had quite a long career here, and you also mentioned that you taught in Mexico too for a year.
I did. I taught in the state of Oaxaca, which is in southern Mexico, and I worked at a university there. That was a wonderful experience. Yeah, I loved it. But
and how does that compare to teaching in Florence then? Mexico versus Florence. What are the differences?
Good question. It's very different. I mean, Mexico is a much poorer country. I have to say, I was in the second poorest state of Mexico. The first poorest state is Chiapas at that time, and the second poorest is Oaxaca. Gosh, it's very different. It's really hard for me to say how different it is, but and culturally, it's very different. There are wonderful traditional festivals that I attended in Mexico, but students are students. So I just love working with students, and I love working with students actually that come from all over the world, and also teachers, because we do a lot of teacher training at Europass.
And beyond the teacher training, which I presume are adults then, but do you specialize in younger children, teenagers, or a bit of everything?
I'm really an adult teacher.
Okay.
I teach, most of my students are adults, and all of my students are adults, and they come to learn mostly about language teaching or other things that have to do with teaching and being in the classroom.
Perfect. And what about you, Tatiana, then? What are your areas?
I teach Italian for foreigners, to foreigners, and I am a teacher training like Sheila. We work together for a long time. And as a teacher trainer, I teach how to use like social media or online sources in the classroom. And what I really enjoy most is the freedom that I have in the school where I teach, because of course we have a program, but the materials or the activities, I can create that. And I really like to bring my students outside from the classroom especially for conversation class, and going to a cafe or a square where we can continue to talk Italian, but in a natural, real environment. So
Yes.
I really like that. And I already said that I really like the type of students that we have. It's not just American, it's just European or Asian, it's all of them. So I learn a lot from them. It's not just me teaching them, but really it's them teaching something to me about their culture, tradition, and stuff like that. And most of my students, not most, but some of them that decided to live in Florence, now they are my friends. And it's amazing. It's amazing. One of my best friends that's still living here is Christy. She's from Boston, and I love spending time with her because I can talk about America. I mean, I told you, there is this connection. So most of my friends are more foreigner than Florentine, because I like to be various in my friendship. So I really like it. And sorry, I have to say that there are some people that at the end of the weekend they say, "Oh my God, tomorrow is Monday." I'm not. I swear, I'm not lying. It's not Monday for me because I love teaching. I love being in the class. It's an adventure. It's interesting. My students have a lot of story to share. So for me, it's just going somewhere where I have fun, and I love it. Not many people can do what they like, and I'm really lucky about that.
No, that's true. It's certainly a very rewarding profession and does give so many satisfactions, I think, and also to see someone thrive and be able to be part of that too, I think, is something that's wonderful about teaching. And then I suppose, how did everything change with the pandemic? How did you have to adjust, and what were some of the difficulties and also some of the possibilities that this period has given to your teaching?
Well, you know, it was shocking in the beginning. I think we couldn't believe it. None of us could really believe it, that what was happening. And gosh, I think it was really just a time for a lot of reflection. And we've done a lot of things to, you know, we've been writing articles and they've been doing MOOCs and all kinds of things. All the people, all our colleagues, whom we love, by the way, we absolutely love our colleagues. And we're very lucky that we work at Europass because it's like a family for us, I think, in a way. Really, really close, and I miss my colleagues. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a time for reflection and just thinking about, you know, where are we going to go from here and how are we going to do things differently. We had a great year last year, and we were looking forward to another great year. We had a lot of students enrolled in courses, and it was, you know, a tragedy to have to postpone those.
I suppose there's a lot missed too, I think, in virtual teaching rather than in person. I think so much of teaching depends on the level of contact and relationship you can have with your students in front of you, and through a screen it can just never be the same. So I presume you miss your students as well, and you miss seeing them. I can imagine and also your colleagues, you seem to be passionate also about your work environment, which is wonderful to hear. How about you, Tatiana? How did you find the swift change?
It was a big change. It was difficult, of course, but I like to think that difficulties sometimes are opportunities for us to learn something. And when the lockdown happened, my colleagues and we started to think, okay, we cannot, the student cannot come to Florence. So how can we bring Florence to the world? And we decided to develop this platform that is a self-paced learning platform. And it was new for me because I have to create all the courses and create the material, the grammar, the images, the games. And I have to learn during I was doing that. But now we have a really great, super great platform that I think we are going to use also in the future, because now the student can come on site and have the complete amazing experience to live in Florence. But when they leave, they can continue this experience through the platform and all the online courses that we have. And of course, for the one that cannot come here now, they can still learn a language and be in contact with us. So I hope that one day they can come and maybe in my class. For now, we have this solution that I think is great. And I have to say that during the lockdown, the best part of the day was when I had the live streaming with my students, because really they gave me the energy. Of course, it was not like to be in class, but having them on the screen and laughing and sharing experience, after that I was happier than before, because it's really poor energy that I told you, I am a social animal. I have to stay with students. So now I am in the back office, but I have to go back in front office because I need that for me, for myself, really. But for now, it went well. I mean, what we did was great.
And I'm sure there was also professional growth in a sense of being, thrust into having to improve your digital skills and digital teaching. I think the rapid learning curve all of us had to go through. I think when you look back and maybe last year as opposed to this year, how do you see your own teaching skills to have changed or adapted, or have you seen any differences in how you approach teaching?
Okay, I was already teaching how to use online material, so I was already in that field. This was more like not really programming, but creating the content using a platform from inside. So you have to know something about HTML language.
Okay.
But fortunately, I have a support for the technician of the school, but still it's something that you have to learn and Google it. It's completely different. But of course, it's something that improves my skills. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
And how about you, Sheila? How did you see your teaching change, or if it did change?
Oh, well, I love being in the classroom with my students. I really do. I really love that whole interaction. I'm very student-centered, so I try to give them the stage and set that up so they can be involved in lots of pair and group work and stuff. So, it was difficult, but I learned a lot actually being home with my son, and also seeing how teachers, his high school teachers, were managing their online lessons. Because I thought, oh my God, it's so difficult for them, especially some of the older ones who weren't that great with technology, even the younger ones too. And I made me sort of think that we need a lot of professional development for teachers now in terms of how to teach an effective lesson online. We really need that.
It's so different, of course, too. It's not, how do you see it as different to in-person teaching?
Oh, it's very different. I think that, like parent group work is very hard to manage. And I think that it's very difficult to see exactly how the students are feeling, like see their body movement, and you're not able to get students stand up and walk around. I mean, you could have them stand up and walk around, but it's not like being in the classroom. It's not. So it's different. We just have to think about it in a different way and think about how we can, if we're using like platforms like Zoom and things, how we can do breakout rooms or use the chat or bring in a lot of other tools that can make the lessons more engaging. But we can, but it's just going to take time for those lessons to become as good as our in-class lessons.
And have there been any standout moments, either positive, negative, funny, or otherwise, throughout all of this period for either of you?
Gosh. I love the time I had with my family. I have to say, this time allowed us, I think, more time with our family. When we're going to go back to living in any kind of normal way, like we did before. But I think that's something we can appreciate, is the extra time maybe we have with family. Maybe even Tatiana going back home. I don't know how that was for you.
Back home where? No, because now I am in my hometown, but I come back to that for sure. For me, about the bad or the good, about the lockdown, I want to remember just the good, because I try to be really positive, how I think. So the good was that all the team of the school worked so close together that I had the opportunity to know Sheila, because we already know really well, but to know better other teachers that maybe we didn't have the time to get deeper, and to work really in a good way for this platform. So I think it was good for me and all the team. With my students, it's always good. I mean, of course, it's different to teach online with the screen, because I move a lot in the class and I make them move a lot, because I think that sometimes you have to stand up and move because your brain needs to be refreshed. So, but I did that too also in online, because I asked them to stand up doing something just to, take a break from the 1 hour class. So there are differences, but not that incredible difference that you say it's impossible. But I miss the contact. Now I know it's difficult to say contact now because we have to keep distance.
Don't worry. Yes.
I need the contact to be in the same room. I could feel the energy. That's true.
Absolutely. And what's next, or what do you think will be next for teaching? How do you see the next stage progressing? Or obviously, no one has an answer to this, of course, but I'm asking if it's possible here. But what feelings are you getting in terms of teaching, but what direction it will head?
I think we're going to have a lot more remote work. I think we're going to have universities and educational institutions looking for a lot more online teachers. I'm already seeing that. I do some work in the States, and so I see that. The good thing is we're coming back. The school reopened on the 6th of July, which is great. And I'm going to be teaching a weekend TEFL course next weekend, a 3-day weekend TEFL course. I have an advanced TEFL course at Europass in August, and I have another weekend TEFL course in September. So we're moving back into the classroom, and that's really good news.
You are super busy again. I think now our school is on this way to combine on-site and online. So I think this is going to be the future. I think it's good. And I think that we are going to find out new way to teach also for students and also for teachers. But I think this combination, it's amazing. It's amazing because we can keep in touch with our students all over the world. And it's something that maybe without lockdown and without this tragedy, because it is, we never would have done. So it's super good, I think, for us. And anyway, we already opened also like Italian teacher school, and we already have students coming with all the rules. So don't worry, you are 1 meter, maybe more from each other's, but we are back. And I know maybe it's gonna be slowly a little bit, but I'm really super positive that people are coming back, and we are traveling also. So I hope so.
Good. And it's wonderful to hear such positivity too, and to see steps forward. I think we have to remind ourselves of those when we see too many negative news pieces or whatever else, that there are movements towards being together again, I guess. But I had one other more general question I wanted to ask your opinion on. We've seen so many articles discussing the effect of this time on education, rather on students, what this will have meant for students who've missed months of school. Now, I know this is taking it away from your language teaching specifically, but I'm interested as teachers, how do you see this as having affected students to have had so many months away from a classroom?
I think in terms of socialization, it hasn't been the best for kids. I see that with my son too, but maybe they're just going to be more creative in terms of how they structure things. I hope they take the kids out of the classroom a lot more. I hope they, they're going to have to organize things for September. My son's school, for example, and decide the kids going to go, are they going to alternate and go 2 or 3 days, or how are they going to manage it so they don't have so many kids there at the same time? So I think they're going to be innovative. I hope so. And that, we have to get used to the new norm. So, and it's better that our kids are safe than not safe. So I just think thinking of new ways to educate our kids. That's what I think.
Absolutely. And what about you, Tatiana? What opinion have you on this?
I don't have children, but I have a nephew, and he's 16 years old. And to be honest, here, I can say here, because he lives in Trento, in Rovereto, so northern Italy, everything went really well with online classes. And I think they enjoyed a lot because, I mean, new generation, they live with the smartphone in their hands. So for them, it's like a piece of cake. And in terms of what they lost maybe for preparation and stuff like that, you know, now that I'm older, I think that life is so long that even if you lose like 3 months of proper studying, is not the end of the world. I know that maybe the parents, not my sister, but parents, they have, oh my God. But I mean, maybe you are going to lose 1 year in the at the university. It's nothing. I mean, if you want, you can, you know, prepare yourself in the future. And I don't think it's a really big deal. And anyway, it's what it is. So
yeah, accept it, of course. And as you, sorry, I spoke over you, Sheila. What were you saying? Excuse me.
We'll survive it. And I think Tatiana made a really good point in terms of, you know, our children are digital natives. And so, you know, they're much more used to this than we are. So we'll, you know, it'll be fine. It will.
And fundamentally, what you said is the most crucial thing is it's better that they're healthy, as you said. So, I mean, really beyond that, we can hope for nothing else out of this pandemic, you know, so I think that's, of course, crucial. And there are messages of love and admiration for both of you pouring in. You're two very popular teachers, evidently. I'm just seeing hearts on every second message here. So you clearly have a very strong rapport with students.
We love our students, we do. We love our work, we love our job, don't we, Tatiana?
It's true. I mean, I said, I'm not lying. It's true, and I'm lucky, and that's it. I'm lucky that I found a job that I didn't want. It was my job, but it's my job. So I'm lucky.
There you go. I'm just going to have a quick look here, and if anyone has any questions for Sheila or Tatiana, feel free to add them in for the last few minutes of this discussion. Diane is saying she looks forward to seeing you in September, and that you're an amazing instructor, Tatiana. There is Bachi from Sarah.
Diana.
People missing you. Thank you for joining us. People tuning in from Bangkok.
Nice.
People,
I've been in Bangkok when I was yeah, I've been there. So.
Oh wow, wonderful. Yeah. We also people from Cape Town. Have you been there too, or no?
Not yet. No. But when I mean, as soon as we can travel, maybe one day.
Maybe one day, absolutely. Then we have Vancouver as well. Either of you been there?
No, Canada, no.
Not yet, no.
Go.
And people saying as well how much they enjoy this, that they can't be here, and this is to feel like they are. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Patricia, for joining us. And then here we have a message from Christy saying that they've taken courses from both of you, and that you're both wonderful. And you can understand in the first 5 minutes it is a passion for you and not just a job. And super grateful to have you here. So that's a wonderful message to hear, to see that your work is clearly appreciated and that your passion has clearly come across to all your students. It's wonderful to see. We have people also from Portugal, and then we have another message here from Miami, who has loved hearing about your school. So thank you everyone for all those comments and messages. I suppose we can finish here, and thank you both for such a wonderful talk. It's been so uplifting to hear two people so clearly happy in their professions. It's inspiring. It gives you a feeling that, you know, education is always going to be here, but it's only with passionate teachers like yourselves that it's given its full effect, I suppose, and gives such long-lasting skills to people as well as long-lasting memories. So thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jane. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Jane. Can I thank also the group and my other colleagues that
of course.
but they work with me and with Sheila to develop what we did. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to you, the Florentine, that you hosted us. Thank you.
No, of course, and thank you also to everyone who's joined in. The next talk will be on Wednesday, and it'll be with Mary Gray and Georgette Dupe discussing renting in Florence. So there'll be some wonderful tales there, I'm sure. So do join us for that one as well on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So thank you both so much again.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.